This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. We are your hosts, Jason Priest and Zach Smith, and we have a awesome episode for you guys today. You are going to want to tune into this. But before we dive in, I just want to give a huge shout out to you guys who continue to follow us through our journey. We are on a mission here to create the biggest impact we possibly can in the male obesity epidemic and help dads become the most elite version of themselves. Our mission and our path forward is very simple. And we need your help to grow our mission and help us spread the word. The reality is again, you guys know we're not here. If you're a first-time listener, we're not here to waste your time. We're going to give you a bunch of value today. We're going to give you some things to think about. We're going to give you some thoughts to hopefully help you move forward and get better. And all we ask in exchange for that is you just to share the show with a man in your life or a father in your life who you feel like it would benefit, who they may move forward a little bit in life. That's what we're all about here, is a 1% better everyday mentality. And that's the only favor that we ask of you guys. What I will also say is this, is if you're not already following myself and Zach on Instagram, we've been doing a lot more content over there. I know at the beginning of the show, we tell you guys to follow our business account, but my personal account, I've been doing a lot more content over there. It's at Jason A. Priest, Priest. And then you can follow Zach at Zach Smith Fit. And we've been doing quite a bit of content over there. So come get connected with us over there, engage, check out our stories, check out our stuff. We want to engage with more of you guys. We want to connect with more of you guys. And so let's get connected over there. And then if you're brand new to the show, let me just tell you, we do have a couple of formats here. Today is a jam session, man. You're just going to hear us jam about, what's going on in the world right now and really get our perspective on as fathers, right? I got 2 kids, Zach's got 1 and 1 on the way. And so it's extremely important for us to spread awareness for other dads that need to, be in the loop on what we are doing as a company, but also, just to stay up to date on current events and really what that means for the life of a father. Because at the end of the day, dude, this is going to impact us all. And it's our number one priority to give the best foundation we possibly can for our kids. And so today will be a jam session. We also do long interviews where we'll bring a guest on to add their value and their expertise to our show. And then we have our fun series, which is called Q&S, and it's questions and solutions. And we're not here to give you just an answer. We're here to give you a solution and a path forward to help you actually get better. So if you guys have questions for the Q&S episodes, we want to answer your questions, man. So we request that you go down into the reviews and leave us a question there, right? Go leave us a review, drop a quick question there, and then tell us what you thought about the show, and then any topic you want us to cover. That's how you can help us grow the show, but also help Zach and I get direct feedback from us for any questions that you guys have. If you don't have access to leaving a review, or if you're on a different platform, email those into info@thefatherhoodexperience.com, and we will get your questions answered and give you a true solution to help you get better in life. That's what we're here to do. So that's my spiel. That's my fucking story, and I'm sticking to it. Zach, what's up? I'm excited for this episode. This is one that we haven't done one of these in a little while, and so I'm excited to get a little bit fired up today.
100%, man. I love talking about this because this is where we get to just speak our damn mind and share a little bit of logic, man, and say some of the things that we know that millions of people want to say, but they're too scared to say so, right? We're not scared of that shit. I'm not saying that we're very hardcore leaning on in any one particular way.
Nope.
But we do have strong opinions based on the information that we have available to us. So I like talking about this stuff because, again, I'm not fucking scared of getting canceled, man. Fuck off.
No.
We're going to speak our mind and we're going to speak what we believe is best for this country, man. Because, look, everybody's entitled to their own opinion and shit, right? But we like to back our stuff up with the facts, with the research, right? We're all entitled to our own opinions, but we're not entitled to our own facts, right? But our opinions are going to be revolving around the information that we have, our experiences, the people who share this information with us. And what we're doing is just coming up with the best solutions and just talking points and opinions based on the shit presented, man. So unfortunately, the shit that we've been presented has been literally shit. So yeah, Jason, dude, let's talk about it. Well, what shit do you want to talk about first?
Before we even just dive in, dude, let me just shed some light on what you just said, because I think what we all have to realize, man, as fathers, and look, what the last, we'll call it, 3 years really has shown us is that there's a lot of crazy things going on in our country that you and I and a lot of our listeners are simply not aligned with. And we'll dive into some of that today. But what we've got to realize is that without our freedom, we don't have the ability to raise our children how we want to, right? Like if you go and you look at what they do in in some communist countries, right? If you go look what's going on, and let's call it China, dude, right? Like in China, you're not raising your kid. Your kid is raised by their structured systems to make them a functioning member of their communist society, right? So you kind of sign your kid over essentially to have them learn and become a pawn for communism. And I'm not here for that, right? And so for you and me, in order to give in order to give Ace, baby number 2, Blake, Colin, all of the members in the fatherhood, all their kids, in order to give them the best chance at success and actually have a life, a life worth living, they got to have freedom first, dude. And our freedoms are being taken away little by little. And that's where we're going to go with this, because, dude, when we look at the current landscape in today's day and age, and I'll just be honest with you, dude, I've had to walk a thin line, and you know me, I got very involved in it for a while. And it started fucking with my mental health, man. And I got to the point where like I realized that I can't do anything about much of what's going on other than continue to work on myself, work on my health, my personal development, and then also speak up and speak out for the message that I'm trying to get across. Because without freedom, dude, we don't have the ability to talk about fatherhood. We don't have the ability to talk about business and growing in our communities. And so I feel like, man, like that's a good starting plate. And I think you and I, the reason that we got off on this topic and decided to go with this for this show is the little stuff that came out with the Ukraine and the Mr. Zelensky himself. And I'll just go ahead and state the facts, man. And like we'll start with the financial side of things, but now, this is as of 5 days ago. We're recording this on March 1st, this episode. As of February 24th, 2023, the U.S. has appropriated approximately $115 billion in quote-unquote emergency funding to the Ukraine. I don't know what this money is being used for. I know we've seen one of the biggest wealth transfers in history that happened during the pandemic. We've seen a lot of the middle class get scraped out. And a lot of that wealth was transferred over to the elites through the pandemic with all the vaccines, the patents, the big pharma push, the billions of dollars they made from this. And so, for me, man, when I'm looking at this, I'm like, dude, we've got a country right now that's on the brink of crumbling culturally. Dude, we've got this stuff that we've talked about on the public education system before. We've talked about the 3-letter government agencies from top to bottom being corrupt as all get out. We've talked about a lot of these topics, right? But we've got a cultural issue when you've got these shows where you've got trans people putting on shows in front of children. I saw a video this morning before you and I hopped onto our team meeting, and this video was of a 6th grade kid reading off a book from his library describing full-on porn, like fucking sex, dude, to the school board. He's like, I'm in 6th grade and this is the book that I got in the library. And it was talking about penetration and pulling down the girl's panties before they had sex, reaching for the drawer to grab a condom. This is the stuff that 6th graders are seeing now in schools, especially in some of these cities, right? And so I wanted to talk about, really what it means to be America first and really lead with that message, because we've sent $115 billion to a quote unquote war that we don't even see going on. Like I've seen some of these PSYOP fucking videos where they trying to show all these dead people on the ground from the war. And then there's a couple of the bodies that are laying under the bags, like trying to get comfortable and situated. And I'm like, wait a second here. What is going on? We've not seen any like true footage of, bombs and guns and tanks and explosions, which you would feel like that would be blowing up the media coverage, right? And so for me, I know that we've got a homeless population in this country that is going through the roof. I know that in some of these cities, like where you've moved from, it is really, really sad. We've got our own massive problems in our own country. I also know that you and I have not been alive you haven't, and me, and I haven't. We've not been alive at any point during our life where we didn't have some kind of war going on. So
Right.
the more that I think about this, man, the more that I get to a point where it just makes me sad. Is like, is America are have we always been just the aggressors? Do we have to have a war to fuel our economy, and that's just how we live? Because I'm not with it, dude. And so that's where I wanted to open up with, dude. And I'll go ahead and I'll throw this last thing out there, and then we can expand, because this is context for it, because this triggered me, dude, when I saw the little interview with Zelensky saying that as World War III escalates, and we initiate NATO, that Americans need to be prepared to send their sons and daughters to fight this war for his country. And I can't stand the dude. I can't stand the look of his face. He's a fucking ex-comedian, serving as a puppet for all these billionaire elites. He's there doing his job. He's profited greatly from it. And I don't believe there's a war. And so that's where I want to start, dude, because I know that you and I are both aligned on the America First piece. But dude, it's time to start making, just like you and I talk about making ourselves a priority, it's time to start making America the priority and get back to the America that you and I grew up with, the America that it was okay to go play until the street lights came on, the America that knew, family first, and that didn't have a divorce rate through the roof, with fatherless homes becoming more and more common. And so I know that was a lot to unpack, and there's a lot there, but man, I just wanted to, this one frustrates the hell out of me, because I love my country, but there's like this disconnect. Like, dude, are we really the ones always stoking the fire with war? I'm not for it, and I don't want to be for it, and that's not who and what I stand for.
Yeah, dude. So you said this is where I want to start, but you covered like 4 things. So
I did, man. You know me.
I told you, man. Once you start going, I told you, you're gonna just go, man, because this is something that like you said, we're passionate about. When you're passionate about something, it naturally is just gonna happen, right? So
we have kids, though, dude. Man. That's it. If I didn't have kids, I wouldn't be as passionate about it.
It's true. That's true, man. So fun fact, man. So the U.S., it says since 1776, okay? And for those of you who don't know that, because you don't know shit about America, that is Independence Day, right? That is the year that we gained independence, right? So since 1776, we have been at peace, guys, not at war, for only 15 years. Since we won our freedom as a country, we have only had 15 years of peace, and it probably wasn't even straight. So there's about 240 plus years of continuous war in some way, shape, or form. The question is, what the fuck for? How many Americans need to die for other people's causes? Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong here. American intervention can be extremely powerful. It can be extremely advantageous for us. It can be very helpful for others. But the reality is, we can't continue to sacrifice our families for other people's causes.
No.
You know what I mean? Sometimes it's okay to intervene, and sometimes it's okay to sit back because it's not your problem. Don't get involved. I'm not saying that I don't want to help out Ukraine, right? But here's the reality. Most people who are saying bring our army to war and go save them and go save their asses, they don't have a child in the army.
No.
They don't have somebody in the front lines in the Marines. They don't have to worry about their daughter getting bombed while she's doing intel or whatever at the main base. They don't have to worry about mortars and grenades and just everything of that nature when it comes to war, because I know many people who've been to war, and it's not fun. It's not fun for shit. A friend of mine was actually in the Air Force, and he was in a firefight with one of his best friends. Well, it was his best friend, actually, as a matter of fact. They're in a firefight, man. Boom, boom, boom. Takes cover, turns to the side, sees his friend go up for a couple shots, and gets shot in the head literally 4 or 5 feet away from him. Do you want that for your child? Let me ask you that. If you had a child who was old enough to go to war, and you wanted to go to war for Ukraine, would you allow your 18, 19, 20-year-old son or daughter go to war and potentially get shot in the head and die? I mean, really think about that, right? I think that's the big disconnect that we have as society. Yeah, exactly. For what? When we're already sending billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you
destroying our own economy,
And you ask where this money is going, right? So this is from defense.gov, right? So this is literally coming from the U.S. Department of Defense, and they're saying this aid will, quote unquote, allow Ukraine to acquire air defense systems, artillery systems and munitions, counter unmanned aerial systems, and radars to ensure it can continue to defend itself over the long term.
I'm not buying it.
So why do we need to send bodies to
I'm not
die
buying it. I'm not buying it.
when they're getting all this equipment? So that's what that's my point here. I'd love to help them, but the reality is we cannot continue to sacrifice American lives for somebody else's issues. I would love, like I said, here's the difference. Here's the difference. There's a logical person and there's an emotional person. A lot of the emotional people are the ones that want to sacrifice all these lives, but that's because they're emotional, yet they're not emotional about putting their own loved ones into that war. Because I guarantee you, if they did, they'd get too emotional about that and say, never mind, no war, no more, all about love. You know what I mean?
Listen.
So there's realistic thinking, and then there's the emotional thinking. Like the people who are emotional are idealists. They're idealists, but guess what? Ideal is usually not realistic. The logical thinkers are the ones who are generally realistic. And that's kind of like us, right? We take the information and we kind of come up with the most logical, reasonable conclusion. And the bottom line is, this isn't our fight. It sucks. It's sad, but it's not our fight. And I would never want to sacrifice my son or daughter in a war that has nothing to do with American lives. I just wouldn't, man.
No,
I just wouldn't. Especially when we're giving them billions of dollars already, man. I mean, let's just really think about that for a second. I think people that just want to go to war and say, you know, oh, go to war or send our army are people who don't have family members that they give a shit about or at all in the army or Marines.
Here's the problem though, man. And like, if it's a war worth fighting, and that's the thing is like, I was talking to my wife about this and I'm listen, you and I are no military experts. You know, we know surface level stuff and then we know friends, right? And that's it.
Right.
But when I peel back, the more and more that I peel back the onions, and I think that this is going to hold true for a lot of people listening to this show, because the last 3 years have shown us a lot. If you're truly awake and you see what's going on, and you see the level of corruption that's going on in our country, as well as around the world, and you know that we've been involved in all these wars. Why have we been involved in all these wars? I was talking to my wife and I'm like, which wars should we have truly been in? And I can't, it's hard to have that conversation and really truly justify a war, right? But like World War II, I get it, right? When I start looking at the actual wars that we've quote unquote been involved in, it looks like a lot of money's been involved too. And so it pains me to the core that we've literally lost millions of people over the span of our country, fighting wars that have just been basically boosting up our economy. Like I'm confused here. I don't even understand what the war is really all about. Because look, I'll be honest with you, dude. I don't know about you, but I've listened to a couple of Vladimir Putin's speeches, and that man loves his country. And that man has values that used to be what American values stood for. God first, family first, marriages between a man and a woman. His value system, dude, is extremely high. And I know that you and I, we know a guy, we've talked to him multiple times, who lives in Russia and said he absolutely loves it there. And that their country life there is a very civilized life, and that most people there are pretty happy. And when I hear that, and I'm told by the mainstream media that he's a bad guy, and then I go and I actually do the research myself and I listen to what his thoughts and values are, and I see none of the negative stuff. I only hear what our media tries to paint the picture of him as being some evil dude. Am I going to sit here and tell you that he's like, he hung the moon or he's the next coming of Christ, right? No. But am I going to tell you that he's as bad as a Kim Jong-un or the China guy? What's it? I can't. Yi. What's his last? Or what's his name?
Communist guy.
Anyway, the communist guy. The fucking China. The head of the communists. Am I going to sit here and tell you that he's as bad as either one of those? I can't, because I don't have all the information. And so when I look at this, dude, and I'm like trying to process this as an American.
Hey, how dare you, first of all, not think like everybody else and say he's the devil?
Because critical thinking.
How dare you think for yourself? How dare you think critically? How dare you go against the grain?
Yeah, and it's just we're, you mentioned being canceled a little while ago, and when I've talked about this before, but I've gotten to a point in my life where I just don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about me, and I know that you're the same way, and so You cancel me all you want, but I'm going to talk about my views here, because I think my views are very similar to a lot of people's views, in that at this point, we simply want to be left alone. We want government out of our hair. We want to be stopped. We want them to stop taxing the living life out of us. And we want to get back to American first, right? We want to get back to America first ways. I love our country because of how diverse it is. And I hate that the media is trying to create these racial wars and these cultural wars with the pedophile shit and the sexualization of our youth, the porn in schools, like I just mentioned, these transvestite shows popping up everywhere where they're doing these, these lap dances and strip dancing in front of these kids. It's going on in Texas, dude. They had that, and they busted one of those in Austin, Texas, which is a very left-leaning city. But at my core, dude, I was never a political guy, man. Like, I don't want to talk about this shit. I want to talk about getting better. I want to talk about setting goals. I want to talk about living life, at my own will. I want to talk about traveling and doing fun things, and all of those things go away without freedom. And when I look around our culture, dude, and I see what's going on in some of these cities, man, these video clips that I'm now seeing of places like San Francisco, places like Chicago, places like Detroit, places like New York and Philadelphia, some of these cities where, dude, like I watched a video of a guy the other day, walked up behind a homeless guy and just fucking put a bullet in his head, sat there and loaded the gun, blasted the guy in the back of the head, and then just walked off in Philadelphia. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, where we're headed as a society is not what I want my children to be exposed to. In fact, my wife and I have been having very serious conversations about getting our kid, well, I only have one right now that's in public school, and getting him into Catholic school as soon as possible, because, dude, it's just not, this is not a road that I want my kids to go down. And nope. Dude, it as fathers, it is imperative that we make this stance a priority for us moving forward. I don't think as many dads out there realize that they have as much of a voice as they do, because I guarantee you 9 out of 10 dads feel the same way as you do, man. If you got anxiety over what's going on in our country right now, and you're anxious about what your kids are learning in school, shit, we've got a couple clients and we talked about them before. One of our clients' son got in trouble because he didn't address his teacher by her pronouns. That's not what my fucking 8-year-old needs to be learning about, dude. No. And so I'm sad is what I am. And for this little weasel to come out and say Americans better prepare to send their sons and daughters to fight his war, I'm not here for it, dude. And if you have a Ukraine flag in your bio and you've got kids, you better be the first one lining up, because you've been pumping that since day one. You've been identifying with the fucking Ukraine push. Now it's time for you to line your kids up for this fucking World War III draft that we've been hearing about, and you guys can go and fight this war, because it ain't for me.
Here's your chance, Ukraine flag people. It was your chance when you put the black square for Black Lives Matter to give hundreds of dollars or however much you wanted to towards the BLM
corrupt organization,
and then everything else that was happening, right? And saying that I got my COVID vax, and you put that up on your profile. Now you have your Ukraine flag. Now's your chance to sign up to the military to go to war. So if you're not going to go to war, if you're not going to go to war, you're a virtue signaler. You ain't shit, but somebody who just talking too damn much, but wants everybody else to do all the hard work. You want everybody else to sweat, to bleed, to die, to donate, and to take all the action necessary to create the result you want, but you want to do it behind closed doors. Fuck out of here. That's virtue signaling, man. There's nothing worse than that, man. And this is crazy, right? We do things as a society, and this is why society is going in the wrong direction, because we keep bending over backwards for these motherfuckers who want to stand for all this shit and do absolutely fucking nothing, right? There's a saying that goes, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. All right, guys? The loudest boos come from the fucking seats that are so far in the back that you can't even see them because they're in the shadows. America needs to stop bending over backwards for these fucking whiners, these virtue signalers, and these other people who want to push these agendas on us and take away our freedom of choice and speech to our children. Going back to the point where you talked about how you want, your kid to go into Catholic school, me and Madonna, we've already discussed taking Ace and hiring our own personal teacher to
I love
teach him the things that he needs to learn to get as smart as possible, as fast as possible, rather than getting in trouble for not calling them pronouns, rather than, because of these they them pronouns, confusing my child, because now you're trying to teach my kid English, but you're saying that as a human I'm a singular, however I'm a they, so I am a plural, but I am also singular, so but they means plural. Do you see how that makes no sense? I want the teacher to go into school and teach. I don't care what the hell you are, right? We've said it many times on our podcast. We don't care what you do. You have that's the beauty of America. You could do whatever the hell you want, but do not push your shit on my child. If you're there for a job, do it. It's not your job to teach my kid gender when you're an English teacher or a math teacher. Just do your fucking job and we'll all get along just great. Very simple.
You're 100% right. And you touched on a few things there, but you brought up the agenda that's being pushed. All right. And I think, one could argue, and, we can go round and round all day about this. We've talked about it before. Until this stops, unfortunately, we're going to have to. We're going to keep
talking about drag shows, right? What's a drag show where they're taking off clothes? That's essentially like a burlesque show. Can anybody under 18 go to some type of
sexualizing 7 and 8-year-old kids at these shows, dude. Any parent
and grooming them, and you're manipulating their thoughts. That's bullshit.
Dude, then transition later on. Here's the thing: any parent that takes their kid to one of those shows does not need to be a parent. If that's what you're signing your kid up to do, you are a fucking piece of shit. All right. And I'll call it what it is, dude. You take your kid to a drag show, don't ever listen to my show again. There's your trade-off.
Hey, because here now, and that's a valid point. Look, some people are going to be like, "Oh, these guys are so intolerant." Blah 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 blah. No, that's wrong. That's like me saying I'm going to bring my kid to the strip club because I want to groom him to be straight, even though he's 7 years old. It's just inappropriate.
It's wrong.
It doesn't matter. If you want to be a drag queen later on in life when you're a fucking adult, go ahead. I don't give a shit. But don't bring my child to watch your stuff so you can start grooming him in that manner. Like I said, I don't go around talking about how you need to be straight. So don't go around talking about how you need to be trans or a drag queen or you need to be gay or this or that. Like, no, just let people live their life. That's all it is. But again, if I can't bring a kid to a burlesque show, why can't I bring a kid to a drag show where they act as if it was a burlesque show, which is essentially a little bit of a strip tease, right?
With a fucking dick flopping around in their face.
Jeez.
Dude.
Well, they actually have straight up, like, literally
naked. Yes.
Nude.
Yes, dude.
That's bullshit. That's where the line has to be drawn, man. That's where the line has to be drawn, regardless of what your stance is.
You're fucking with our kids. And as fathers, ain't having it, dude. I know there's a lot of those little soccer moms out there who also aren't having it. And here's the thing, dude. When we talk about this from a cultural standpoint, if you go back and you look in history where, look, there is no more conspiracy theories anymore. They're conspiracies. They're just not theories. Okay. Because every one of them's fucking come true. They just fucking proved the lab leak. They just proved the fucking, all that shit has come out. Right. They've proved the cover up of Fauci's emails. Right. He paid off the guy to go change his email saying that it didn't look like, the sequences are engineered here. Right. It's bullshit, dude. This whole thing. Right. And I'm not going to get into the whole COVID thing. This is not about that. But there's a lot of layers of the onion that I've pulled back over the last 3 years that have led me down a path of darkness. Now knowing that a lot of the things that we've been taught over the years is all by design. It's all formulating in this narrative, right? And if you go back and you look at like Nazi Germany, for example, when they did the Holocaust, everybody wonders, how that happened and why would they just march off to a shower, right? And you have to go down the rabbit hole pretty lengthy to realize that this was all set up starting through cultural manipulation. This was all set up through tiny little things that that started getting these people to believe one thing, right? The Jewish people to believe one thing, that they were somehow not the same, right? And we see a lot of that going on right now. And what I will tell you, though, dude, is that the social media component of this is massively important for their narrative, right? If we're truly seeing the demoralization of society, which I believe is what's going on. You don't put porn in 6th grade books unless you want this to happen, right? What's going on is you're convincing a population that they have nothing to stand for because we're all the same. It's all inclusivity, right? There's no difference between being a winner and a loser. It's you still get a participation trophy. You're still all the same, right? There's no difference between a boy and a girl. You guys are all the same. You're all created equal. Bottom line, dude, is that the more they can get us to believe that, the more we have less to stand for, right? Now you bring in this nihilism, right? This you got nothing to stand for, so you're all the same, and now you're easily controlled. And I'm not here for it, dude. You and I don't do the participation trophies. And it all that's been going on for how long now, right? Like this has been a slow process, all with a big design, right? And when I go back now and look at the onions even further, look at the people that are leading this charge, these fucking old decrepit dinosaurs like a Klaus Schwab and a George Soros and some of these dinosaurs. You think that this is a new 5-year plan for them? Or do you think that they've been working their whole lives for what the agenda they're trying to push right now? Because when you talk about a one world government and a new world order, this is not something that you can pull off in 5 or 10 years. This is something that takes massive planning and the demoralization of a society because, dude, they still got to get rid of guns here before they can fully come in and indoctrinate this communism. It's going to be socialism first, basically in the form of communism is what the plan is, right? Go read COVID-19, The Great Reset, Klaus Schwab. You look at that and you look at what's going on in our society, and dude, it starts with dads at home. It starts with us taking a stand for the things that our children are being taught. It starts with us speaking up and speaking out. You don't necessarily have to have a podcast like Zach and I, but you can at least talk to your neighbors, talk to your community members, talk to people in your life that you know are on the same page with you, and you guys form that bond, right? The more they separate us and the more that we feel that we somehow don't have any community, the more they control. And that's just it. And so, dude, when I heard that little weasel say that about fighting our war, our sons and daughters fighting our war, I'm like, now we've reached a new level of action takes, right?
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. I will leave the country before I put my child into a war that doesn't need to be fought.
Oh, 100%.
Now, am I saying that the war doesn't need to be fought between them two? No, not at all. Because if Russia wants to take over their country, they're a sovereign nation. They need to defend themselves. We will aid them monetarily, which we are doing now, but you will not take the life of my kid. No. You will not take the life of my kid for a fight that's
any of our soldiers. No. It ain't. I'm not
100% or any of my soldiers. But my point is I will leave the country before that happens, dude. I really will. I will not sacrifice my child for somebody else's cause.
I'm with you.
It has nothing to do with us, man. That's just that's just it.
No. That's my blood. That's my blood. And I have no passion over the war that you're fighting because I don't even know what the fuck is going on. You guys aren't transparent about it at all. $150 billion for what?
Yep. So let's talk about how that's affecting our children and our society, right? Because we're so focused on everybody else's shit that we're forgetting that we have our own shit that's growing out of control. This is a problem, right? When you get fucking cancer, when you get fucking cancer, you need to get that addressed immediately before it turns to stage 2, 3, and 4. And right now in America, we are like stage fucking 3. We're literally 1 or 2 steps away from terminal illness. Our country is bending over backwards for cancer that is growing at a rapid exponential pace because we are allowing it to be this way, which is why this podcast is so damn important because we need to fight that shit. Look, I've been seeing tons of videos. Look, speaking of not putting America first, we're so focused on genders and fluidity within sexuality and teaching our kids this and that as young children that we have adults and shit that are so stupid that they can't even answer elementary questions. I've seen so many of these. How many continents do we have? They don't fucking know. How many oceans
kids in their early 20s because they didn't fucking learn a thing. Yeah. Oh, it's sad.
Basic math. They don't even fucking know. They don't know these things, man. How many states? That's one of the craziest ones. How many states do we have? People don't know that we have 50 states,
40,
dude.
47, 52.
Yeah, no, people say that. Literally, people say that. One person, I remember this one girl, she was, I think it was like in New York or something like that. She's like 29 or 30 or some shit like that. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So why are we neglecting our people?
Is that
and making them purposely more stupid because we're allocating dollars to other people's fights instead of investing into our people's education, because
You
what
don't
we're
care.
doing now is neglecting them and creating ignorance.
Listen,
So what's going on?
listen, is that by design? Because here, check this out. So
Oh, here
you
we
got
go.
these
Rabbit hole
kids,
time.
yeah, you got these late teens, early 20s that can't answer these like factual questions about like normal shit, right? But like if you can't answer how many states your own country has, that means you probably don't have much country pride, right? You probably aren't that proud to be an American. Because I would have never missed that answer when I was growing up. We were proud to be
Same.
Americans. We were proud of our
Same.
freedom. Is this part of their demoralization? Is this part of the process that's happening right now? Because, dude, when you really get on that kind of a level, dude, it's crazy to think about how much of this could be by design. Because look, check this out, okay? TikTok. You know I'm anti-TikTok. I deleted that shit off my phone as soon as I found out China was stripping all of our data. I don't use it. What I will tell you, though, is I was listening to a show the other day with I want to say he was either a ex-Navy SEAL or an ex-Marine that was highly educated on the military intelligence side of things. And he started talking about the TikTok algorithm. Obviously, this is a China app. And in China, the algorithm rewards heavily any Chinese kids that are showing off some kind of skill, right? Some kind of high-level skill. If they can fucking do a Rubik's Cube in 2 minutes, right? You're getting rewarded for that. If you can do some kind of trick, you can do some kind of crazy spelling or math thing, you're getting heavily rewarded for that, right? So TikTok algorithms showing all the intelligent stuff to promote that so that their country continues to be challenged to be up to par. They designed our algorithm to reward young girls showing their ass so that the more they show their ass and the more they show their titties and the more they show their skin and all that and sexualize themselves, the more likes they get and the more attention they get. And when that happens, what happens there? What is the process that's happening? What we're seeing right now in high school? Young girls get on TikTok, they show skin. Let's say they're 16, 17, right? When you should be dating right then. I think my first my first real girlfriend where I was like, the sex part and all that. I think like 16. Okay. So you should be dating 15, 16. That's when you're starting to have some interest in maybe stinky pinky or a little blowjob or over the pants HJ. With all that, here's what's happening, dude. These girls are going on to TikTok. They're getting all the likes, the attention, and the comments from older men, right? You get a 35, 40-year-old men who are giving you this love. They're showing you all this attention, and it's validating you. It's making you feel good inside. It's giving you those dopamine hits because every time you post, you're going to get all these guys comment, man, shake that ass. You look so fine, girl. I want to be your sugar daddy, all these things. And now you've got these girls who are only attracted to older men because they give them what they want. They give them the things they need. Younger boys in high school don't know how to talk like that. They don't know how to talk to a woman. They're nervous as hell. Shit, the very first time I French kissed a girl, I was shaking in my fucking pants. All right. I didn't know how to act. So now you have this generation of young boys who don't have any girls that are interested in them because they're over on TikTok showing their ass. There's a disconnect between the 16-year-old boys and girls. And these boys are turning to porn, video games, and a dark life because they don't have any interest from the females. Is this all by design? Is this what we're seeing right now? This demoralization of society, this cultural setup, if you will, by the one world government that might already be running the country in China? They're buying up all our farmland. So what the fuck is going on here? Why are we in bed with them? Why is that going on in our country? Why do we allow this?
So true story here. And I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again because it's been a long ass time to the point I don't even remember. When I was an internet sales manager at Mercedes-Benz a few years back, or some years back now, actually, it's 2023, I had a family of 5 come in. It was one of the longest deals I've ever done in my life for a basic, just C-class Mercedes-Benz that this family needed because they had no mode of transportation whatsoever. 5 people ranging from the age of like about 60, I'd say, as low as 18. I dealt with the 18-year-old. She was the only one that had good enough English that I could understand her, although it was very broken. Now, upon the purchase of a vehicle, you need a social security number, right? You need all this information, this and that, in order for us to confirm your identity to make sure that we're not selling a car to a damn terrorist or a thief or somebody that, something of that nature. Tell me why these people, they had no identity in America. Okay. They had nothing, no green cards, no nothing, no social securities, literally nothing. They were ghosts. I'm not sure how they got there, if I'm being completely honest with you. But, and nothing against them. Look, dude, they're investing. Cool. Good for them. But this is weird because how could you have no identity yet? They had 5 investment properties worth over 10 million because this was in the Bay Area in California where real estate is expensive. They had over $10 million in assets in our country without having an identity there. This girl had to literally call and get insurance on the spot because we couldn't let her legally drive the vehicle off the lot. She had nothing. She barely just got a brand new driver's license. These people just, you're like, just going on to your point, man. It's just crazy. It's crazy, man. It just, and look, free enterprise and all that stuff, open market, it's cool. It's good. It's awesome. But like, there has to be a system. There has to be checks and balances, I guess we can say, and we have to stop neglecting Americans first and start investing in our people so that our people can get empowered, not demoralized. We want them to be proud to be Americans. We want them to stimulate the economy. We want them to do productive things. But at the same time, we're over here and having non-committal tendencies. Like this is so common, Jason. We talked to hundreds of people. By now we've talked to thousands, if not tens of thousands, over the history of our professional experience. And what do we hear all the time from people? I want to do this. One day I'll do that. Hopefully I can.
Someday.
If only I could, God willing this. I'm like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you just be a fucking man, button up your pants and get to work? Why do people keep saying, like, speaking in that manner? What's wrong? What's going on in society, which is making people speak in a way that they just don't want to do the work and they don't want to commit to something and they just kind of leave it up to chance? Why are there so many people out there who don't understand and believe that whatever they want is totally attainable as long as they have a good plan and they have action behind that plan over a course of time? You will win. Why do we have an entire nation of people who don't believe that? Why? Serious question. I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but we hear it all the time. It's a loser mentality.
It's happening at the it's happening at the educational level, at the elementary educational level, because what you're seeing is, again, they're teaching my kid this too. There's no competition anymore. It's not about winning, dude. It's about being equal. And you and I both know that that's not how life fucking works, okay? If you want to win at anything, you have to work your ass off and you have to continue to show up every fucking day, whether that's your health and fitness, your relationships, your marriage, your business, it doesn't matter. It requires hard work. We've basically taken winning as a whole and we've devalued winning, right? Look at all the sloppiness that goes on in the world right now. Men don't wear suits anymore that often, right? You just show up, you do what the fuck you want. This is jog pant mentality, right? I don't have to, I just dress however I want. My fucking hair is all. There's no more sense of pride in what you do, right? It's going away. And so what they've done is they've taken winning and they've come in and they've said, look, man, money is the root of all evil. You go and you chase money and that's all you do, you're not going to live a fulfilled life. You need self-care. You need days off. You need to be actually able to be a free spirit. You've taken away the hard work mentality out of our society and you're rewarding the equality, the participation trophy. And so where this starts is in our homes, dude. Because it ain't gonna happen from the educational system. There's one presidential candidate right now. Forget his name. He's like an Indian guy or something, and he's talking about if he's president. I like some of his messaging. If he's president, he will tear down the entire Department of Education and build it back from the ground up, which is what needs to happen. And
that
I love
needs to happen. Yes.
100%.
Who was it that said they wanted worker bees? Who was it? Was it Rockefeller? What back in the day? Remember when the education system was actually first introduced to America? Like it was like Rockefeller, somebody who said, "I don't want critical thinkers, I want workers," or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's what the school system is designed for. So just throwing that in there real quick. I actually love that. I love that. It's
been that goes all the way back to the wealthiest people in the world, not Elon Musk, the true wealthiest people. We've talked about it before, the Rothschild and Rockefeller families, right? So with that though. When you have this demoralization of society going on, and this is not going to go away anytime soon, what can we do as fathers? And that's the path forward, right? Well, I believe that working on our health and our mindset every day and staying and getting stronger and staying and getting more healthy is a huge path forward, because they want you fat, they want you addicted, they want you on social media, they want you eating shitty food, they want you living the alcohol life so that you lose your drive, that you lose your ambition, you lose your purpose. They want you basically doing the escapism stuff that you and I talk about, but doing that all the time so that you don't have a purpose. A man with easy entertainment, a man with access to easy food, easy entertainment, and doesn't have to work hard is a man that loses his purpose, right? Men get fulfillment from working their asses off. Men get fulfillment from accomplishing shit. Men get fulfillment and personal validation from winning and stacking up wins on a daily basis. And this is the path forward. If we're going to show our children what it's like to win, it's not about telling them, hey, little Timmy, you got 8th place. Congratulations. We'll put this trophy with the other ones. Fuck that shit. Little Timmy, you got 8th place. Guess what? You're 6, so we're going to let you keep that trophy. But when you're 8 and you can understand this concept a little bit more, you're not getting a fucking trophy unless you're 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, and that's just the way that it is. You're not first. If you're not first, you finish fucking last in my book. You're either at the top or you're not. And that's how the cream of the crop rises to the top, because they know that they got to keep fucking showing up, working their ass off to win on a daily basis. Winner's mentality is becoming further and further and further away from what you and I stand for, dude. The winning mentality is absent in this country, and there's a very small portion of the population that's holding on to it, trying to instill those values back into the youth. But dude, it starts with fathers, man. It starts with us showing our children, you showing Ace what it's like to win, and letting him and strategizing around, hey, I know this is what they do at school. However, this is how we do it. This is how dad does it. And this is how this is going to help you more in life. So this is how we're going to approach this, right? It's about getting strategic with your kids because they're going to get that information anyway. How can we then convey that information into a way where they're like, you know what? Dad's right. And I'm going to listen to dad and mom because I know that I want to be like them when I grow up because they seem to be doing really well. And my fucking blue-haired teacher who's telling me that inclusivity with her pronouns at the back of her name is the way forward isn't really the way forward for me in my life.
Yep. So check this out, man. My final point with, in regards to how important the dad is and the mom when it comes to raising a child is think about your child, right? If you're one of the older listeners, or if you know anybody that has a son or daughter who's an adult by this time, right? And including your own self. When you were growing up before school and they asked, what do you want to be when you grew up? Most of you guys didn't say, I want to be an engineer. I want to work in the food industry. No, they say things like, I want to be a firefighter. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the president. They'll say some things that might sound outlandish, right? And what do? We say, hell yeah. You can do and be anything you want as long as you work hard.
Yep.
Now, what the fuck happens when you say that same shit as an adult when you're in high school or college? All of a sudden, everybody's talking shit. They're criticizing you. They're doubting you.
Oh, you
They're
just want to be
never
rich?
going to achieve that.
Yeah, they doubt you. But then they're like, oh, you just want to be rich guy? You want to have a Lamborghini? That's not fucking cool. I want to live my free spirit life. Bitch, what the fuck is that mentality, dude? Where's the winning mentality gone?
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm so for revamping the education system, because it's fucked up. It doesn't encourage critical thinking, individual thinking. It throws you into a line. Single file line from kindergarten to the end of college or end of high school if you didn't go to college. And then after that, guess what? Everybody has all these limiting beliefs. Everybody's like, oh, one day I'll do this. Why do you think so many people say that? One day I want to do this. I want to do that. Hopefully I can, God willing. And if only I could, then this and that. They only say that because they're scared to actually commit because of all the criticisms that come with growing up and that linear thinking.
Yep.
There's something that happens, throughout the education system that fucks up dreams, aspirations, hopes, and everything.
Shit on it, dude. Oh, you're not going to be able to do that. You better just go to college. You better just go.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you only have a 4-year degree. Do you know how many people that I talk to who criticize me for not having a 4-year degree? People who think that they're actually more intelligent than me, who think that they have a higher IQ than me, who think they're more informed than me, who think they can do a job better than me because they have a piece of paper and
$60,000 in student debt. Right. That
and
ego comes in when you start talking about that piece of paper too.
Exactly. and these people, they don't realize it, but they're super idiotic. Like they don't understand like some of the things that they were actually taught is, first of all, it's wrong. And second of all, a piece of paper has nothing to do with the intelligence of any one particular person, because for all they know, I've studied a shit ton more in this stuff than they have in school. Because I have learned a lot from a lot of other people who are extremely intelligent and the leading people in these industries. But I don't have a piece of paper, so I'm a dumbass. So that's what I'm talking about, man. Like, it's up to us as parents, especially as fathers, to make sure that our kids don't lose hope of their dreams, their aspirations, and their goals, and to continue them on, and understanding that if you get 17th place, you're not going to be shit. You got to push your kids to be better, stronger, faster, smarter, whatever it is that they want to, whatever it is that they need to do in order to become the man that they know they're capable of becoming, or woman. Obviously, we have kids. I have a girl on the way. Shit. So it's gonna be the first girl between me and you, Jason, because we both have. There's 3 boys in our families right now. Mm-hmm. So it's up to us, man. It's very important, guys. Don't let your kid get fucked up and sucked into the education system and give way to all that nonsense that is taught during that process of education. Because although it is formal education, it is a fucking dream killer, and it will ruin you. It will ruin you, and it will ruin your child.
You nailed something, dude, and I think this is a great place to wrap, because I'll tell you that what you just said is really, it's the silver lining of this episode, with America first, fathers first, and really leading by example. Because here's the thing, dude, you just said you want to encourage your kids to chase their dreams. How many dads are out there right now telling their kid they can be anything in life they want, but they're accepting mediocrity in their own life? They're not taking care of their health. They're not taking care of their fitness. They're saying, hey, man, I want you to go out and play because you need some exercise today, but you're not an active participant in their life. You're a sideline dad. So if you're the dad that's encouraging them to chase their dreams, chase their goals, and chase their aspirations, but you're sitting back saying, you know what? I'm content in life. I'm not ready to grow. I'll get to that one day. Then you're not leading by example, dude. And that's our message for you today, is that, number one, it starts with fathers at home. And we need to have an American first mentality, because if you have to go out of your way and spend a couple extra dollars to buy America first and avoid buying something else from China, I would say that's pretty worth it. If I have to spend $2 more on a shirt that's made in the USA versus the one that's made in China, I'm buying the fucking USA one every single time. I've started getting back to that. Now, am I going to tell you that I'm immune from ordering off Amazon? No, but you know what? Amazon's doors stayed open when most small businesses got fucking shut down during the lockdown. So would I rather support them if I got a choice and I could get, wait one more day and pay the same price? I'm going with the US. I'm going with America. So I'm by no means perfect, but it's about leading by example and starting to adopt more of that American first mentality. But dude, if you're going to have your kids chase their goals and dreams, you better be chasing your own fucking goals and dreams too, because without that, you are not showing them, you're simply telling them. And that is the opposite of leading by example.
100%, man. I think that's a great place to wrap this up, man. The bottom line, pretty much what Jason is saying, is encourage your children, because I don't think you understand how important your role is in their life, but also at the same time, handle your own shit. Otherwise, you're nothing but a hypocrite.
Fathers lead. Fathers lead.
Importance of fathers, importance of parents. Dude, fuck the education system. But I mean, obviously they need to get educated, but at the same time, what you teach your child and how you shape them and their beliefs around everything they want to do is going to determine whether they become great in this life or if they just become another fucking worker bee, dude. It's up to us.
100%, dude. 100%, dude. I love this episode. I think this is going to be a fantastic listen for a lot of people out there. I will tell you guys, man, go get better this week. It's all about taking action. Look, if you're not where you want to be and you know you need to lead by example, it starts with you, dude. Start making yourself the number one priority in your life so that everyone else gets the best version of you, not the third, fourth, or eighth best version. And if you need some help, go down into the show notes. Click our links, dude. We got LP60, our free 60-day program for building elite habits. Dude, go dive into that. At least pull some pieces from that. If that's not for you and you want more personalized coaching, dude, go into the show notes and tap on the fatherhood link, dude. I forget which one it is, but there's a link in there that should be to go and get connected with us, right? All of our information is in there. So get into our world. Let us know how we can help you. Go out, get better this week. Today is Momentum Monday. Crush it, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.